Kapilji, a very respectful pranam to you. Myself, Pinak Nandi. I'm from DIPLOMA, Assam. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Music, DIPLOMA University, and I'm pursuing a PhD in music from the Department of Music, Sikkim University. The topic of my PhD is place of modern acoustic guitar in Indian music. For that, I need some data, and I'm taking interviews of some guitar players who play North Indian raga music on the instrument. So that is why I'm taking your interview today. So before going to the musical conversations, I want some basic introduction from you. Like, where are you basically from?
Namaskar. My name is Kapil Srivastava and I'm basically from New Delhi, but I'm also based in Dehradun, Uttarakhand.
So, what are the names of your guitar teachers or guitar gurus?
I have learned from several gurus. In the Indian classical music, I have learned from Pandit Mani Prasad, Pandit Debu Chaudhary, Pandit Pratik Chaudhary, etc. In the Western music, I have learned from Mr. Bright, Mr. Lazarus, Mr. Dhasmana. I'm also very fortunate to have learned from the legacy of famous music director N. Datta.
Do you play any instrument other than guitar?
Apart from guitar, I am also officially trained in the sitar instrument. Besides that, I have also given live performances in the synthesizer keyboard, in the bass guitar. I also play mandolin and I also enjoy singing.
Have you learned music academically, or you have done diploma in music, or you have learned through Guru Shishya tradition?
As my core subject is guitar, so there was no degree or diploma during my learning years. So my whole method has been the Guru Shishya Parampara. Apart from that, I am officially trained in the sitar instrument under the Sangeet Shiromani course from the Delhi University. I also want to add that it is in the year 2015 that our organization guitarmonk was the facilitator to bring the first bachelor degree of guitar course in India. We get it passed through a merit-based university via the UGC.
Are you a full-time musician, a music teacher, or you do some other job or business?
I am fortunate to be heading Guitarmonk, which is also the largest chain of guitar schools in India. At present, my work is more into that education, teaching, research. I also do music recordings a lot. I have given a pause to the live performances, but I will be starting them very soon.
Now, let us come to our musical questioning. So, my first question is microtones or microtonal notes are very important in North Indian raga music. But guitar, being a fretted instrument, which is not manufactured with an objective to play raga music on it, do you think microtones can be achieved on modern acoustic guitar?
This question has been a debate in the guitar fraternity in India for decades now. But with the advent of technology and with the evolution of time, today we have microtonal guitars. I have also seen that we can easily alter the frequency of a particular note by also placing a micro fret along with our main natural fret. So if we want a particular note which is lower in the frequency in a particular raga, then we can easily achieve that by placing a micro fret, or we can access the microtonal guitars, which gives us the leverage to adjust our frequency of every note. So I think this is the new solution we have.
My second question is with the use of ornamentations like meend, gamaka, murki, khatka, jamjama, it becomes a raga from being a mere skill. To perform or practice a raga on modern acoustic guitar, do you think all kinds of ornamentations can be achieved on it? If yes, up to how much extent?
Not all kinds of ornamentations are possible on the guitar, and we should never ever try to do so. The common mistake every Indian guitar player is doing is that they are trying to copy or emulate the Mohan Veena or sitar on their guitar. That's where guitar is bound to be inferior or fail because it will miss to create its own raga personality. Guitar can give you a mix of ornamentation, a combination of staccato and legato expression, which is even difficult to get in other Indian classical instruments. If you take the example of slide guitar, it is taking everything in slide format that after a point you get exhausted. It is difficult to take staccato notes on the slide guitar. The way Sitar cannot take the level of sustenance the flute and violin can give. In the same way, guitar should not try to achieve the bending or the jhankar ability of the sitar instrument. Sitar has its own natural structure and anatomical advantage. Yes, but we can achieve almost all kinds of ornamentations on the guitar up to one or two whole tones, such as meen, gamak, khatka, murki very easily. It is also important to note that we don't need another Mohan Veena or sitar in our guitar. It is also not a rule in Indian classical music to never sound staccato. In that case, what is the difference? Won't it be better if we start playing the sitar or Mohan Veena ourselves? So that's where the guitar has to build its own character and personality in Indian classical music.
Have you developed any special kind of practice or riyaz to execute ornamentations on modern acoustic guitar?
First of all, we need an inclination and understanding about the aesthetics or ornamentations of Indian classical music. We all Indians, Bharatiya, grew up listening to the old classic film songs. They used to be full of Indian classical ornamentation. As we enjoyed them, we can easily understand or appreciate their beauty, their pleasure, their emotions. That's the key. And then, if we are a guitarist, we can easily adopt them in our guitar. There are similar ornamentations in Western music as there are in the Indian classical music. Their jargons or names are different. It is also very important to note that the level of expressibility of these ornamentations is at a different dimension in the Indian classical music. For example, we say Karn Swar or Chaya Swar in Indian classical music, which we call as grace note or shadow note in the Western music. The way we use mean in the Indian music is at a different dimension, but we call that mean as a glide in the Western music. We use the term vibrato for the gamak, but you won't hear the kind of gamak we do in the Indian classical music in the Western music. Now there are some guitar based techniques as well which are used in the Indian music. These are guitar specific techniques such as slide. We do forward slide or backward slide in the guitar. In the Indian music, we call it ghaseet. Ghaseet is used in sitar and it is the way of connecting the note, but it is also an effect. In the same way, bending is used in the Western music, but bending can also be used to create an andolan effect, which is an effect which can touch the microtones of a particular note. So that's bending is not used in the Western music, but we can easily use that kind of bending, the effect of guitar in creating andolan. Now there are hammer on, pull off and trill effect we name on the guitar, which is a kind of another name for using the krintan, jamjama or even doing khatka on the guitar. Besides that, guitar also has a tremolo picking ability, which is not present in the other Indian classical instrument. For example, sarod, sarangi, sitar. They cannot do the tremolo picking the way guitar can do or render it. It's a unique expression which is exclusive to the modern guitar. And we should try to capitalize on this ornamentation as well. I think finally it is the mind which knows what to use, where to use, when to use. The training is about how to use these ornamentations.
My fourth question is, the traditional string instruments like sitar, sarod, sarangi, etc. are basically played in two different styles, Gayaki Ang and Tantrakari Ang. Which Ang do you think is more suitable for modern acoustic guitar and why?
Definitely the Tantrakari Ang, because the instrumental dimension gives us the concepts of jod, jhala to be applied on our modern guitar. At the same time, the vocals or the Gaiki Ang gives us a different kinds of concepts which is only possible in the vocal. For example, the lyrical ability, the swartan ability, the vowels ability, it is only possible in the vocal dimension. I want to reiterate that we should never try to emulate any particular style on the guitar, but we should play upon the leverages of the instrument to actually make it sound unique, exclusive, and give that instrument a character.
My fifth question is, do you think guitar has some specific merits and demerits as an Indian raga music instrument in comparison to the other traditional string instruments?
Yes, there are dimensions of the other instrument which is not possible in the modern guitar, but you have to observe that every instrument is designed in a particular manner and anatomically tuned or anatomically structured to suit a particular kind of playing. For example, slide guitar uses the word slide, which is an ornamentation in Indian classical music. It is difficult to take staccato notes on the slide guitar. In the same way, we cannot emulate the jhala magnificence of the sitar instrument. We cannot copy the gliding ability of the sarangi instrument, the rapidness of the glide of the sarangi instrument. In the same way, guitar is structured to suit a particular kind of playing. Let me give you an example of the santoor instrument. Santoor instrument is not designed to take the means, the kinds of mean we are used to hear in the Indian classical music. Guitar can take better means than the santoor instrument. Santoor is traditionally known as the folk instrument, but today it is popularly known as the Indian classical instrument. The way Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma and the other exponents of the santoor instrument researched upon the new abilities of the instruments and designed the melodies to show the strength of the santoor instrument. Today we can feel the prowess of the santoor instrument in comparison to the sitar, sarod, violin, flute, mohanveena, etc. Santoor has its own character. What is the difference? The santoor did not try to emulate the abilities of other instruments but tried to create its own originality based on the leverages and advantages of the structure of the santoor instrument, and that is what is possible in the guitar.
The sixth question is, do you think some architectural change is required on modern acoustic guitar to pursue Indian raga music more traditionally? If yes, what and why?
I am very much in favor of the variations and scientific experiments with the instrument, but I feel that there is a huge vacuum and possibility of raga performances in the instrument. We have explored, expressed almost nothing of the ragas in the modern guitar. Architectural changes like on the one side you add something and on the other side you take something. You give something, you miss something. Let me give you an example. Most modern guitar players, in order to emulate the Indian classical music, they started learning the music from the Indian classical gurus who used to be sitar players or the traditional instrumental players. Now what they did is they removed the fifth and the sixth string and added the drone strings to produce the jhala concept. This is being suggested by all the teachers and they wanted to look different, they wanted to create their own instrument. In my understanding, they took the leverage of the guitar to play the bass octave. The opportunity to listen the compositions in the bass octave is missed, is taken away by doing this architectural change. So the standard change took the possibility of guitar to play the three octaves. In my understanding, the right architectural change should be done to give a particular instrument the leverage, but it should not take away the originality or the exclusivity or the strength of the instrument. I can talk in great length about this particular subject, but I think that architectural change should be done when you have saturated the instrument. We have not even performed 500 or 100 pieces of ragas in this modern acoustic guitar.
To play raga music, which key do you play from and why?
I mostly prefer the C major, D major and E major position to play the ragas because these are the most comfortable positions on the guitar.
My eighth question is, to play a wide variety of ragas, at least 3 octaves or saptaks is required in an instrument. How many octaves do you get from the key you play the ragas?
A guitarist can achieve the 3 octave range by working on the concept of murchana or modes in a scale. I would also suggest that it is better to keep your sa or tonic or root note in between the guitar fretboard or in between the middle of the strings. So sa is good somewhere on the third and the fourth string and on the middle of the fretboard. Then it is easy for you to go to the higher octave and also to the lower or bass octave.
Do you play with standard E, B, G, D, A, E tuning or you play with some other tuning?
Yes, I do play with the standard tuning.
So these were my questions. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Thank you so much, Kapilji. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Namaskaram.